obviously whatever practice number we're on right now, I felt like, the kids are starting to grasp what we're trying to do done. Not all about obviously schematic, but just really what the expectations are, how we practice, just, our whole intent, our body language, everything, how we take the field. And I feel like from the first practice to where we are now, I feel like we've made considerable strides.
What's been the most difficult part of that adjustment for the?
Well, I think anytime, you're putting in a new system, obviously you got a new staff in general, it's a learning curve, but I think to the kids' credit, those guys have been working really hard, to try to give us exactly, what we're asking. And, I don't know, I could put my finger on one thing. I just think, change is always difficult, but, again, to the kids' credit, those guys are working very hard at
Coach,
it, and
you're
they're definitely getting
thin
better.
at a couple of different positions. Has that made it more difficult to evaluate kind of where you all are headed into the offseason?
Yeah, it's obviously, a challenge, but at the end of the day, you just have to be prepared to coach the guys that are there, and get those guys, as prepared as you possibly can. And obviously when the other guys can return, we'll start to and help develop those guys. But, it is what it is. Obviously when the fall hits, the guys that are here and that are prepared and that are healthy, and we'll put the best guys out there. It gives us the best opportunity, to help Tennessee win.
Patrick Brown, then Gustavo.
Tim, you talked a little bit about how the players have sort of adjusted to you guys. What about you guys as a staff, obviously, with wanting to evaluate this roster and see what kind of personnel you were having? How much more comfortable do you as a coordinator and the rest of the defensive staff feel about what you have learned about the players you have this spring?
Yeah, I think that was the number one goal going into spring, to make sure we, had a pretty good grasp on what we thought our guys' strengths were, and obviously, what liabilities they had, and trying to, continue to teach and mold and help them with them. But we feel good. We feel like we have a pretty good handle on the guys that have been practicing and exactly what they do well. And, we're working very hard, every practice to put them in the best positions to obviously execute and do their job.
Coach, how much do you think your players understood your system, your method of practices throughout those 13 practices? How your evaluation of they understanding what you want to put on the field throughout all those 13 practices?
Yeah, I think like I stated earlier, I think it was a learning curve for those guys, and understandable. Again, I've taken over a few programs or different defenses, and it's always the same. It's a learning curve, but at the end of the day, if you have a positive attitude and you're ready to work, which these guys have had, you start to see some of the return on your investment. So I think the guys are picking it up. I think every day, every practice, they've gotten a lot more comfortable with it. And obviously this summer will be extremely valuable. And obviously those fall camp reps that you'll get, and, we'll be ready, by the time it's, we got a chance to kick this thing off.
Eric Kane and Matt Ray.
Hey, Tim, obviously turnover is a huge part of the defensive game plan, always has been, and definitely now. Seeing you guys out there working some turnover circuits while we've been out there, how has the turnover progression and scrimmages and some live 11-on-11 situations been so far from, day one of spring to now?
Yeah, the guys have been very, but, give our offense some credit. They do a really good job with ball security and protecting it. So I think it's been a healthy battle, throughout camp. And, we've obviously won some, and those guys have won some of the battles as well. But, we know, it's one of those timeless truths. If you're able to get the ball back and obviously protect it on offense, you got a chance to be successful. So, Coach Hype preaches it every day, and we do the same on defense. We got to get the ball back for our offense so they can do what they do best.
Hey, Tim, just going into Saturday's game, what are you looking for the most from your defense? Where are you hoping to see them improve, throughout from day one of spring to the conclusion there on Saturday?
Yeah, again, it's just another opportunity to go out there and, play as hard as we can possibly play. That's the first thing that we talk about, every single practice is just our attack and how hard we're playing, from snap to whistle. So that's the number one thing you're looking for. And then obviously you want to execute, obviously what calls we'll have, we want to execute them to the best of our ability. And if we continue, on the trajectory that we've had, I think that's what we'll do, because they understand for us to, get where we want to go, we can't afford to waste one rep, and obviously, the spring game gives us an opportunity to go out there and get better.
West and Patrick.
Tim, I guess specifically with the linebackers, how much growth have you seen from that position group? I know that's been an area that's been identified by a lot of people as an area where those guys need to take a step forward, both inside and outside. What have you seen from those guys the past few weeks?
Yeah, we're obviously been thin at, some of those spots. And, I think our coaches, have worked extremely hard, and you really can see, the growth from the first practice to where we are now. And to the kids' credit, those guys have worked at it. The inside linebackers are ultra thin at this point, but the guys that we have in there, have been pushing. And, I told Coach BJ a day ago, I literally can see the improvement. So, we're not where we want to be yet. Obviously, we know it's a long road to go, but ultimately, we just want to see some daily improvements. We want guys to invest and obviously at some point get a return on that investment. And I think if they continue to, work the way they're working, I think they'll like the results in the end. And I think that could be said for the outside linebackers as well.
Tim, I'm sure there's not an area where on a defense, you never want to say I've got a weak link anywhere. But if you happen to be struggling a little bit at the inside linebacker position, does that inhibit or kind of slow the growth of the whole unit? Because they seem to kind of be the string that pulls everything together in a lot of defenses.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you ever want to identify any particular group as the weak link, so to speak. Do we have some depth issues there? Absolutely. But I think, top to bottom, we need depth everywhere, but obviously down the middle of your defense, you want to be as stout as you possibly can be, but the guys that we have, I feel good as long as they continue to grow and continue to develop. I feel like they'll put themselves in a position to be able to help UT, get back to where we all want to be and all want to see UT. So I think we'll be fine. Again, is there work to be done? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I think the guys are up for it. I know Coach BJ is, and the rest of this defensive staff is. And we believe in our guys. We believe in their work ethic. And, we know they'll continue to grind to get better.
Hey, Tim, one of the young guys you guys have in the secondary is Christian Charles, who I think he was mostly a quarterback in high school. What kind of adjustment have you seen him have to make this spring, and kind of how would you evaluate how he's kind of improved and performed?
Yeah, he's been awesome. When you talk about a guy who's really made some great strides during the spring, he's one of them. Obviously played quarterback, in high school. So, a lot of the technique that Coach Martinez is teaching him has been new to him. But he's come along. He's really been a pleasant surprise for us. I didn't know a lot about him when I got here, but, he's a hardworking kid. He's extremely bright. I think he really has a good future here at UT as long as he continues to work and, and stay humble, and he seems to be that type of kid, so I think the sky's the limit for him.
I think he's been mostly the safety. Is that where you guys are keeping him? Do you think he could play corner, or is that still to be determined?
Yeah, I think it's still to be determined. We've tried to work hard at, moving guys around, trying to figure out what the best matchups we have in terms of, who's at the field, who's in the boundary, who's at star, who's at corner, no different at linebackers. So, that's still yet to be determined, but again, he's an athlete, and football is important to him. And, he's one of those kids that, the future is bright, just because of his mindset and his work ethic.
Two more questions, David Pascal, then Brent Hubbs.
Tim, what all can you say about the format for Saturday? Will it be 4 15-minute quarters? Are the ones going up against the ones and the twos against the twos?
Yeah, I think that's probably a Coach Hype question. I think he can probably, I'm not at liberty really to talk about that. We'll leave that to Coach Hype.
Okay, we not getting him this week. That's why I just didn't know.
David, I'll get it to you.
Okay. And can you just talk about the motivation of this? I know sometimes you've got sometimes they have the winning team get steaks and the losing team sometimes has to eat the beanie weenies, or are y'all going to do something along those lines? And how important is this to be a motivating game type thing?
Listen, they're all important, man, and that's not coach cliche. Again, when you're a new team or a new staff and, we understand how valuable every single rep is, and how valuable every practice is. So, our kids understand that. They understand that it's a lot of work, that still needs to be done for us to go where we want to go. So I think that's the motivation that they have. These guys are hungry. They want to get better. They want to get coached. So I'll be extremely disappointed if they didn't come out excited, for the opportunity, to obviously get Neyland and tee this thing up.
Coach, as you conclude spring on Saturday, two questions. One, how would you rate the physicality of your unit? And two, if you had two priorities or three priorities for the summertime for your entire defense, what would it be? Or what is it?
Yeah, I think first, from a physicality perspective, again, I know I keep saying the same things, but we've gotten better. We're more physical than we were day one, and as a coach, that's what we're looking for. Have we made strides? So we have. Are we as physical as we want to be? Not at all. But the kids understand that, and we're working our tails off to get there. From a priority in the summer, I think, again, it's just those daily deposits, we want to make sure that we're constantly doing throughout the summer. There are no days off, in terms of, our mental aspect and our approach. We'll have cut-ups at this point. These guys will be able to evaluate themselves, not just, what we say schematically, but what they see on video. So getting in the playbook, studying on their own. So obviously, by the time we hit fall, we can install extremely fast. So obviously, we can, continue to put even more of the playbook in, so to speak, at a faster pace.
Thanks, Coach, for your time.
Okay, thank you, guys.